Okay, story so far here in Prime Minister. Through two cycles of election, the first one I allowed the election to happen early. The second one I delayed the election in order to get an advantage because I was actually behind. In both cases, though, Viscount Melbourne has held on to the government and has actually in the last one increased, well, in both elections has increased the number of MPs. I'm trying to think. What are they called? Members. Okay, not ministers. The number of members that he has in his coalition. That's reflected by a little bit of a victory point span between the two parties. The backbenchers, neither one has left. Neither one's really been in a position to leave. Yeah, there's some possibilities. Resigning here could cause me to be able to shoot down the minister's bills. That might allow me to take over and also become the opposition, which might actually be advantageous at this point, being in the opposition. It's hard to tell who's in a position that's strongest to win. You would say, oh look, the Prime Minister is just running away, holding the job, etc., but the vote count keeps getting higher and higher. Keeping success after success is difficult to do, and you pay a penalty if you lose elections or if people start working to shoot down your bills, etc. So what may be happening is that the other players are sort of maintaining him in position without really hurting themselves. To some extent, the maintenance of the pact was doing that for quite a while. And in terms of favor, though, the Prime Minister and the opposition leader are both well ahead in favor. They have the capacity to grow their favor, which is something that the backbenchers have a really hard time doing, which is why we're seeing that Earl Russell here is at one favor, which means he can't get a job in his government. On the other side, the backbencher here, Peel, has been obtaining various positions within the party. All right, we're going to pause for a bit. I got one battery charging, one that I don't know that it is or isn't. We shall see, and we'll come back up and start the next cycle and see if things happen. Things were getting a little tight for the Prime Minister. He spent his entire hand of supporters. His backbencher, Russell, ended up spending most of his supporters trying to get himself that extra favor by supporting a bill. If he resigns, he still cannot attempt to defeat bills with this debate card, which is problematic. Because he still wouldn't have a way to build up that favor. Now, the favor may not be that important, but he doesn't have a lot of power if he resigns. Simply doing nothing may be enough power to allow the opposition to try to gain, to try to game the system, and that might weaken Melbourne enough. Anyway, that's it for now. It's a rare Saturday morning and the first really foggy day this year. This fall, whatever. Generally, I am not gaming on Saturdays because I'm coming home, a little earlier than this, but drunk off my ass. I pass out after playing a little bit of Raid, then wake up a few hours later, play some more Raid, but I'm in no position after dancing and drinking to do any gaming. But I felt a little under the weather, not terribly. I still feel a tiny bit, and avoided going dancing. So what am I doing? Well, I'm playing this instead of sleeping, and I'm drinking the last of my coffee. And well, let's start the next round with the victory points and the cubes. Points advance, I noticed they've got a couple of little special spots. One of them I'm aware of. The father of the house gets assigned, and apparently no resignations. I don't remember the no resignations being in play at that point, but okay. But also, notification postponement. I don't know what that is. I remember there being something that happens at 85 and maybe that other thing at 90, but I don't know what they are. So I wanted to look up notification postponement. That's not here. So I don't know, that could be something that's part of the clockwork. I don't know that. But I seem to remember something was about an 85. And, I just can't remember what the limitation was there. Father of the house we know about. I don't remember what it does, but I don't remember the 85 thing. What that I'm looking for a less than 85 or something along those lines. You would think, like part of me would think that here in the game board it would tell me something about it, but it's not going to. It doesn't even deal with the victory point track at all. It has it here, score track, the first PM. Okay, that gets me to 13, but that's going to just be the victory conditions. I don't know what this is, and I'm not happy about that I can't look that up. And what was the other thing? No resignations, and again, there's nothing under N. It goes from M to O. Oh, fuck. I hate this. Like, if you're going to give me reminders that I can find in the rule book. I mean, do give me the reminder anyway, I guess. Let's look at resignation. We got father of the house there. Okay, you can resign if you have less than 90 victory points, because that would allow you that sort of sneak up from behind and sandbag someone if you could go over 90. So that's something to consider there. But it's the no election postponement. That's what I'm seeing there. Yeah, okay. So I can't take this once I'm at 85. Once you're close enough in victory, you have to let other people have a shot at winning the election. So that's something to consider as well. Again, I think that's a mechanism you might be able to use to allow yourself to stay in this PM a little longer. These are gamey mechanisms here. I think that's the main purpose of them. And what does Father of the House allow me to do? You double your supporter cards that you have at the start of your turn. Yes. Okay. Good enough. I recall that. All right. And I guess we're up for bill selection. And again, what do we want to do? It's a good question. Do we want to, again, every time I've got this hard call, do we want to put something up there that the PM can't possibly, you know, is our goal to make it so that the PM can't pass stuff? Or is our goal to get cross-party bills up there? Well, as things stand currently, we're falling behind on points. So I think since I do the opposition leader first, he's going to draw one of these. And that's a partisan plus 20. That's almost definitely not going to pass. But now I got to reshuffle the deck. And I'll draw another one to see if I get something even more appealing to put forward. Interesting point. First of all, I found a cross-party in there. That's fine. I'm sure it was supposed to be discarded. I just moved it to a different discard pile. If it had gone the other way, it might have been problematic because I'm not shuffling it back in. But the Liberal deck is getting relatively small. There's a couple of cards out here, a few out here. Those party decks are not huge. And I could see it coming to a point where that gets drained and people are going to have to give cross-party choices or whatever, possibly to the PM. I'm not sure how positive that is. So we would rather give them the plus 20 than the plus 50, no question of that. And we do it this way. And then I think I went to the opposition backbencher. He also wants to hurt the PM. It's not going well. This is a P plus 40. That probably fails, but we'll see if we get something better. We definitely don't want to give him the all. So again, we'll give him that one. Over here, we need the PM to fail, man. Let's draw a Liberal. Of course, we have also the capacity of maybe we want to play the debate card, which adds 10 and gives me an opportunity to up my points in terms of favor, which I have not been getting. But I don't know. This is an all. Let's draw another one, because we share in the Liberal points this way. This is an all minus 10. You know what? Chicken butt. We're going to do the all minus 30 because we think that might get picked and we might get to boost things. Now, from the PM's point of view, he wants the easiest things he can pass. So he's going to go for cross-party bills. He's not really worried about whether the opposition gets points. No, he gets to see these first. I forgot about that. But yeah, I mean, he wants the most that he can pass, whatever that means. Okay, one of these is an M. That only has 360 votes, make it 380. This, we're at, 260, make it 280. This is easier to pass. So I'm going to take this from my buddy. That gives us a point between us. Oops. We are not blue. But doesn't give him any status or anything. And then we're going to take these other two. So this one was at minus 30 from there, which is 340. That's going to be a plus 10. This one's at minus 20, 350. That'll be a plus 20. And this one, ooh, this one's at plus 20. That'll be at 390, so that's at plus 60. And this goes away. As do all the Liberal ones that we did not want to to play. Now, one of these is actually liberal, the University Tests Act. Okay, so we're proposing University Test Act, universities in Scotland, and the Burial Act. Those are the three we picked. Only one of them gave anything out. Let me make sure that I'm doing things right. I'm always worried that I'm fucking things up because I'm so good at fucking things up. It doesn't show anything that just... So, the PM discusses the revealed. There's a 1 victory point selection bonus subject to usual pooling. Yeah, so we got the 1 for picking from our backbencher. We don't get any points for picking our own bills. But we don't give him any standing or anything like that. Why is he lower? So much lower. I don't know. He lost 1 due to the backbencher debate card, and I think he lost 1 for something else. So he's a couple of points behind the opposition backbencher. Where are we then? So now we're on player action turns, starting with the government backbencher with his 2 chits. And not a lot of supporters. Now, I could just boost one of these trying to get myself because I need to get up to damn 3. I'm not going to play that. Well, I'm not allowed to play these if it's above 350. 350 would be plus 20. This one's plus 20 right now. So I'm going to play my 2 cubes to play the debate card here. And that adds 10 more, improving that one. I'm helping the Prime Minister here, but I need to get a position, damn it. It's either that or resign and start, I don't know. I'd be allowed to debate things down at that point. But I don't feel like we're preventing him. These cards look too good, so I'm going to try to feather my own nest. We go over here. Oh, we get a point. Let's not forget that. We go over here, and again, the leader, I think, wants to push the first decision over onto the whip. The whip's not happy. He does not know how we're going to change things. Campaigning, we're not in an election quite yet. It could help, but we are about ready to become deputy party leader if we can get more favor. How are we going to get favor? Well, we could get favor by debating, but that would have to defeat a bill. This one's at plus 10. That's the only one we could defeat. That would require a lot of effort by both of us, and I don't think my leader is going to give me that kind of support to help me out here. So, I draw a supporter. Actually, we have 2 of these. I'll play the Duke of York and increase my royal favor. I have one counter left. I can't do any of the big actions, so I'll draw another card. I have some voting penalties here which could be useful. What do I get out of being deputy party leader? I get a bonus at the start of the round. That's worth it. will up again, and we will just take Deputy Party Leader. Not quite yet. As soon as this moves, though, we become Deputy Party Leader, and we'll be getting a supporter every round, which helps us tremendously. And it's only at the end of our turn that we have to worry about it, so the fact that I have 4 cards in hand doesn't mean a thing. Privy Councilor is not available to me. Now it's the opposition leader. What does he want to do? He would love to defeat Bills. How do I defeat Bills? Yeah, not very easy for me. I am going to Hobnob. It gives me 2 cards. I've got a card I want to play, so I think C.P. Scott is less interesting. So we'll take Argyle here. But we are going to play this, John Brown, on the Prime Minister. That gives the Prime Minister 2 favor, but drops him down. He's not down low enough. We have to defeat him again, so I'm going to try hobnobbing some more. Maybe I can destroy him in other ways, but oh, not good. This looks, I don't know, these are approximately the same. And I've got to play a card. What do I want to play? Well, if I could get my value as high as his, that would be useful. I'm going to play Sarah Forbes Bonetta on him to drop him 2. And now we're going to set ourselves up for a challenge. We're very, very close. We will play the Prince of Wales to increase our own up there. What that does is that makes us tied in standing and tied in favor, which means we have a challenge available, but here's the problem. What if he passes a bill? Do any of them increase his standing? None of them do. So he's in a threatened position, and we could make it even worse by increasing our standing. I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to increase our own standing yet again. Well, wait. Maybe we don't do that. We have 1 card left before we choose. Yeah. I think we're going to hobnob again, which means reshuffling the deck. Clear indication of that damage that's happening. You got a little nick here, and you got a little nick here. This card is probably the worst of all of them that I've seen so far, but they're degrading on 1 play to a point where they're becoming marked cards, they're becoming damaged. Sure, you can put all your cards in sleeves. I don't mind having to put like really, really cheap cards in sleeves, like the old SPI ones or the old Avalon Hill ones that are torn off of a sheet of paper or whatever. But when a game, or if like I play a game so damn much that the cards are going to wear out. But consider this. My Magic the Gathering cards, even ones that I didn't use very much, or that I used a lot, they don't really need sleeves. And I played them a lot, okay? The regular poker quality cards that aren't these heavily stiffened, hardened cards do not get damaged the same way that these guys do. Anyway, I'm back to shuffling. But I just wanted to point out, you've got visible markings beginning to show up on the cards with one play of the game. How long does it take for a normal poker deck to start getting that kind of marking? You know, right? Not a cheap like bridge deck or something. There are cheaper cards that tended to wear out pretty quickly. But your standard poker deck, man, it'll last years without getting marked up like this. These guys, they're getting marked right away. And GMT has plenty of games that don't have these heavier duty cards that just don't get damaged the same way. Here, you have to put them in fucking sleeves if you don't want your decks damaged. I'm not going to do it because I can't stand sleeves. I don't remember. I think I have to spend a cube. I think I've spent 2 cubes already, but I'm not sure. I think I have to spend a cube to get these 2 cards. Okay. We have another status. I can't use that yet, but that is a more appealing card than this. And now I look, and I think I want to improve my chances by boosting this. Because, look, he can beat me if he can increase his status. But he could just flatter his way up as well, assuming he has flatter. He has a level 1 flatter. So I've got to have at least that one, because if he only has to spend 2 cubes on the event to protect himself, then he can gain that 1 space very easily. Let's look at the event. The event is Scottish Pure Offended. I can ignore that, or I can spend 1 whole cube to apologize. G and S. See, I would lose some of my popularity. Ooh, this is going to make things unhappy too. Fine, I'll apologize. I wouldn't do this if it didn't give me enough cubes to do the things I want to do. What things do I want to do? Well, first I'm going to hobnob. I have Earl Grey. I'll play him and get my status up to 12. I'm now safe from challenge. I cannot be challenged by anyone as long as I'm that high. And now I have another one, and that means I'm not really as concerned about the favor anymore. This is at plus 30. We could just pass that trivially. This is even better. This is at plus 10. That's going to be the hardest of them to pass. I have support on this one, so I'm not gonna aim for that. I might just grab this. I could debate and add it up to plus 20, which still, I believe, has a chance of failure. What does that mean? Do I want to hobnob? Let's hobnob again. I think I'm in a good enough position that I can get away with that. And this is the one that I maybe least care about. This is the most flexible card. We'll keep that. We're not going to play it. We'll just keep it. And now we resolve a bill. Well, we'll resolve the one we're going to win. The Burial Act. We pass that with no problem. That gets all players 2 points, but we're pushing that limit upward. We've passed yet another cross-party bill. And now we get to hear challenges. Well, we're not challenged. He's not challenged. he's not able to challenge. There's no election at this point, and we go to the next phase, and I need to break. I've got some points built up in the raid that I got to deal with. But yeah, and yep, it's still foggy out. It'll be that way probably for about 3-4 hours, you know? It's usually around noon when it clears. And one of those many things that reminds me of my wife, because she took some really pretty photos of the fog at various times. And, you know, my mind's just in that place where I'm thinking more and more. And, you know, when it, like I said in the one video, I get these twinges of sorrow, but I also get similar twinges of like, you haven't cleaned your roof yet, dude. You haven't dealt with the vines on the trees. You haven't dealt with this. You haven't dealt with that. All this shit that, you know, I have to do that I'm probably not going to do. Think about another one. One that I pretty much have said I'm just not going to do, which is pursuing like the money that she had in Europe. I just don't care enough. Like, all I can do is hope that like my end comes soon. It is Saturday night, and you know, as usual, sometime after I went down from my last playing, I went to sleep around 9 or 10 in the morning, whatever, and woke up just about in time to start playing Raid, and now it's dark, and I don't know what it is. I think it's like 9 or 10 at night. It may be earlier than that. It's getting dark early now, and that's weird. Not something I like. I don't know. At least we're not on daylight savings time. Actually, daylight savings time is kind of useful to me because Raid comes a little earlier, which actually kind of sucks on every day except dancing nights. What it means is I have more time to get ready, you know, to do my Raid shit. I just, nothing makes sense anymore in life. The life of an addict. Okay, so we took the first cut of automatic things, points for the round. You can see the Liberals are closing in on that 85 points. What does that mean? No, so I thought this said notification postponement. It's no election postponement. My eye's not so good with these glasses. But that's key. If I do want to postpone the election, I might have a chance on this one, but it doesn't look like it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to get screwed almost like barely. And then again, there's not a lot of room between the different little game limitators. And now we're on the player action turns. Starting over there. Getting a nice ride off the Prime Minister's points. Do I want to resign? You know, it doesn't put me in a position to take leadership, and I probably won't have many opportunities to get points. There is room here to grab points, but that's not really what I was aiming for. I was aiming for favor. How much do I want this to pass? Well, it's at plus 30 right now. It's pretty guaranteed, and I don't really care about his other bill. So, hobnob we do. Why not? And we'll do it again. You know, this gives me more capabilities. Not playing any of it. It's not, in my view, playing supporters for campaign. That's something you do just before an election might happen. Come over to opposition. Leader probably doesn't want to go first. This is rough because he wants to defeat the leader. He doesn't really have a way of reducing leaders standing easily. which is what's kind of important to me. And it leads me to believe that instead of trying to defeat bills by the opposing party, I want to hobnob. This is a nice card to keep. I got some debate cards here that I could throw in. Why don't we just drop that down to a 0. And we'll pull another one. Got another debate card. We'll drop that down to -10. And we'll live with that. Over here, what's his position? He wants bills to fail. He really wants bills to fail. That feels appealing to me. I got a bid there. I got some bonus capability there. The idea of hobnobbing is always appealing because I get, 2 draws instead of 1. I have a lot of cubes. Let's hobnob. See what we get. Standing. -2 standing. That could, favor. That could really, really help me. Let's hobnob again. Hobnobbing is just too valuable. +1 standing. This is a very, very powerful card. I'm going to drop this in on the debate and drop it down to -20. Trying to get him below me. I have greater royal favor. We will hobnob once more because it's been working out. I don't know. Do we want Irish? Irish are worth 2. Gentry are worth 2. Nothing too great. A negative liberal is worth 3. Negative farmers doesn't help at all. I'll throw Oscar Wilde away. And then I am going to play this to drop him 2 in favor. And that gives me enough that if I can drop his standing by failing a bill, even just withdrawing a bill, we'll be able to challenge and take control of the government and then maybe start padding our own points there. All right. That puts me to the government. Schism in the Church of Scotland. How much do we care about the Scots? A fair amount, to tell you the truth. I'm in a problematic situation as the PM, though. We may be being overtaken by a combination of standing and favor rather than winning and losing an election. I am going to ignore the Scots, I think. But then I might lose this way. We'll ignore the Scots. That's going to drop them 2. 1, 2. We lose 3 places here by that. Okay. Scotland's not that important. Now we look over here. I have the Prince of Wales, or Princess of Wales. I have a capacity to debate votes up a little bit. We can pass this one this time. I could count on my best chance of doing things being adding 10 per. Each cube, I could get it up to a plus 10. But you know, hobnobbing's just too attractive. It's fun to partay. We got something I want, which is this. We may need to play this now to drop his political power. See, he could break, but then he can't debate me because it uses up all his cubes on the next one. So that won't help him. Which means what? I don't know what it means. I feel like trying to save this bill is too hard against their combined force. Hobnob it is. Oh boy. It's favor or a big vote bonus that hurts us with conservatives. I can gain 2 of the 3 favor I need. I'm able to buy favor through flattery. Again, I'm going to pass on the vote. I just think it's too hard to succeed at the vote. Okay, in that case, we're worried about our situation. So we are going to play this to drop his standing. Oh, this guy went up one. I always forget that. We're going to play this to increase our own favor. We're going to play this to increase our own favor. And then we're going to spend a cube in flattery to bring our favor up. It's just a tie, though. That's not good enough. Fuck, I went out of my way to do all this. Hold on. But I dropped him. That's good enough, and I'm boosting my favor, which I think overall makes me more stable. Fine, we'll stick with that. Resolution of a bill. We're going to pass the Universities of Scotland Act. That's going to give 2 points to each side. Does not require anything. And G and S, the gentry, go up by 1. Gives us 2. And S, the Scots, go up by 1, which gives us 1. He succeeded in the bill that he committed himself to, which means he can take the point of favor that he needs. Now that point of favor still isn't enough to get me a position, but I have the backbencher card next time. I could try to help him pass that. That's no failure there. That means nothing goes terribly wrong. Hearing challenges. What do we got for challenges? Nobody's high enough to challenge yet across any of the things. There's not an election at this point, which means we start over again. Points and cubes are in play. Can't postpone the election. This is a very valuable bill for me in terms of pumping my points. He does not want that to go too high, because if it gets too high, there's no resignations anymore, so I can't undercut him as easily. But on the other hand, I could get a position. A position doesn't help me if I'm going to resign. He's doing too well. We have to do something about him. That's what the word on the street is right now. He has to be stopped, and nothing is getting in his way. His own backbencher is going to have to stop him. Okay, well, that's player action turn. Therefore, we are going to spend all of our cubes to resign the government. Okay. That costs the PM 2. Now, a challenge doesn't immediately happen. He would actually lose the challenge if it immediately happened. Set aside your career cards. I'll put them up here. This is where I put stuff I don't use. And turn this card over and place it and begin tracking your VP separately. There we go. What are the effects here? Receives no government or pact VP. Cannot use career cards. Can attack bills though. Remove this card from the board if he becomes PM and takes his bonus, or goes into opposition after a change in government, or rejoins the government if the PM agrees. If the latter happens, the PM gets his standing back. Okay, so we just broke the government. We have supporters that we could play in addition to everything else. There is going to be an election. We look like we're way ahead still. A loss of seats is a good thing from our perspective. We're just going to stand pat with what we have. Over here, well, he's again going to force the backbencher to go. Oh, this feels like it's time to try to win the election. But it's also time to beat this. Now, beating this would cause a couple of liberal... actually, no, beating it doesn't do anything. It just hurts him. Letting this pass hurts them for the election. I don't know how I feel about that. What do I have here? Oh, he went up by 1. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay. In the opposition, I'll be able to hold a position. I have as much standing as I can. I don't want to spend this card. It could be useful in another circumstance. I don't particularly want to defeat that bill. That doesn't really help me as much as I'd like. I could do campaigning. I don't know. Hobnobbing seems as powerful as campaigning. I should have gotten 2 more of these over the course of things. Let's see what... Last turn I should have gotten this. And... I think we paid this to get rid of a liberal on that. I know we're cheating here. That would be 3 votes gone. 1, 2, 3. It might change people's decisions a little bit. At the beginning of this turn, I get another one of these. I forgot to do this. There's no, it's new. And on this turn, I'm going to have to play cards. Now, I would rather defeat him at the election box, I think. I think I want the opposition to win more than I want him to gain anything. What I'd really like to do is blow his standing away. I don't have a way of doing that. So, but we have to take the ministry away from him. There's no question of that. So we got farmers and workers. Workers are +2, workers are +2, and farmers are +2. We're going to play this to give us farmers. How do we feel about liberals? So middle class, we'd lose 2. Liberals, we'd gain 4. Or we could take 2 away from him. We're going to play her to drop the middle class by 2 but gain 4 in the Liberals. So 2 more seats, or 2 more votes, go away. This I'm not going to use. This one, me gaining Liberals is 2, him losing middle class is 2. We'll gain more Liberals. And this one, I'll hold on to this card. We've made a lot of ground there. I have cards left. What do I want to do with those? I want to hobnob, of course. Okay, we can change the favor. Opening things to a challenge. Useful, not useful. I think that's more useful when it comes to be my turn. Not really. Because this only affects the Prime Ministry challenge. Do I want to hold this card? I don't know. We'll think about it. We'll hobnob some more. Ooh. I am going to play John Brown on the opposition leader, giving him 2 standing, 2 of that, and losing him a standing. That loss of standing is important because he's getting himself. So right now, it would have been a failure of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister would be challengeable. But I want to be within reach of that and be able to challenge him if at all possible. I can't do anything with my standing here. I'll hold these cards. I don't know if I'm making a big mistake here, but that brings me to the opposition. What does the opposition want to do? The opposition has to drop standing there. The ways to do that are votes. Or I can bonus my own standing. Okay. Interesting. A hobnob. Who is less interesting? This one is probably the least interesting of the bunch. That gives me a point of standing. Now I'm tied again. No matter what he does, I pretty much am able to seize the government as far as I can see. Does that mean I want to hold these other cards? I think I don't particularly want a powerful election, but I want to win the election, which is an interesting concept. So we'll play this Thackeray here. That is Liberals and Farmers. Well, Farmers doesn't help us, but Liberals, we gain 2 more votes in our favor. Simply campaigning in one sector or another doesn't seem terribly valuable as a power. Now, a double campaign does sound appealing, but I think campaigners with only a single campaign just don't feel terribly powerful. And he's not able to do a double campaign, even with the chairman and whatnot. So, yeah. All right, I am going to probably pull more cards and see what comes of them. Play one more. Oh, I don't know. Okay. Ireland. Ireland could be worth 2 to me. The middle class is worth 2. 2 Irelands is worth 4, and losing a conservative is worth 3. We do not want to take this card. Unless Ireland's worth a lot to him. So we'll take this card. We would like to win the election, but not by a hell of a lot. That's the point. Is playing this of importance to me? I'm going to play this for, it's the left-hand side, which is 20 votes against and down a farmer. Oh, farmer down doesn't help. Oh, it's us losing a farmer. That's not so hot. We don't want to do that. I could drop his royal favor, but, you know, he's not going to be able to exceed us in favor easily, which is kind of the issue here. Newman's not interesting for much. We could take Ireland for 2 or the middle class for 2. We'll go for the Irish. This one's just votes. 2 liberals would get us 2 whole points, and losing a conservative would lose us 3. That's not good. But we can hurt them with liberals, which is worth 3 votes in my favor. Giving us the edge in the election now. I got one more cube. See, I could make this more likely to fail. Right now the election swung a little in my favor. I'm going to keep playing for the election. I think we can play harder on the election later. We do not want to lose conservatives. Mill is not particularly useful to us. We'll put Duke of York in our hand. And we'll sit here not terribly happy with what we got on that draw. We might have been better off debating. That brings us to the government. And what is it? Stalemate in war against Russia. If I ignore it, I lose standing. We don't want that. Blaming the army, I maybe lose the election. We don't want that, but I got me a problem. I need to get my standing up, which means I'm going to have to do a fair amount of hobnobbing, I think. I'm going to blame the army, which the middle class does not like. That's 2. And the workers don't like. That's 2. Okay. If we withdraw this, we lose a point. We're not great debaters. Well, we're going to hobnob and see what we gain about that. So, if he takes over the government, we can't win the election, but we could have a minority government in play. Which, if we hit him with farmers, might be more valuable. I'm going to hold this card, see what happens. Hobnob again. I like the randomness aspect. Ooh, ooh, ooh. We got the big hit here. It's not good enough, though. It reduces favor by 2. That's not enough. Shit. Okay. We're fighting for our lives here. Let's debate and increase that. And debate. and increase that. That's all I can think of. It's not good. It's not enough. Here are challenges. Okay. No, definitely not. But there is one here. So we've got a challenge. And I need to swap batteries. Okay. The two players exchange player mats in a challenge. This is 10. Aha. Okay. The winner gets the starting standing level on his or her new player mat. Boosts me up to an 11. Yeah. The loser always gets the starting standing on the new player mat. Down to 5. Keep your unplayed supporters, favor, and player markers. If you're taking over the PM's role, take 6 replacement points. And that's for both of the players there, right? If you were a government backbencher who resigned before the challenge, take the victory points for yourself before VP pooling resumes. If you're a government backbencher who resigned before challenging, he did not challenge. And the Prime Minister is always the first challenge, so he retains his position as party leader for now. Remove any bills remaining on the board. Did we forget something? We forgot to resolve the bill. Fuck. Oh, God damn me. Hey, skip that. Yeah, we got to resolve that bill. It's at a 0. Let's see. Because we were both at 10. It's still not going to help. We were going to try to pass the bill. Card 1. The bill would have passed, which means the 4 victory points were gained by both of these. No, just by him, because he resigned. And C and G each went down by 1. So the Conservatives, we would lose 2. And the Gentry, we would lose 2. There's a lot of room for fucking up the tracking. I don't think that extra thing would have helped in terms of I don't think that optional rule would help. It would just add more things to be tracked and more places for there to be errors. Okay. That didn't change the standing at all. So this still happens. And now we go back to what we were doing. The opposition leader is taking over the PM's role. Take the steps above. Plus, backbenchers flip their backbench mat over and switch their cards. So he's at 8. Let's make sure the backbench has a reverse. Yes. And he's at 8. And flips over. Now let's talk about the cards in a moment. Then exchange the resignation card. I get my resignation back because I'm now in the minority and I cannot be resigned. But he gets the resignation card. Right? Yeah, he's now the government. The backbencher cards are shifted. The career cards are shifted. These are going to go here. Now we got to look at this. Replace liberal bills with conservative, remove election. The former opposition is now the government. Okay. We have to look at the jobs because I think he gets reassessed on his positions. I don't remember where I saw that and how to find it. Is it under backbencher action? Backbencher career cards. If your party moves from government to opposition or vice versa, exchange your career cards and reevaluate their activation requirements. Surrender them when you're no longer a backbencher. Okay. So, Chief Whip. I have 3 favor and I have 3 standing. I am going to be Chief Whip. He starts getting his jobs over here. Privy Councilor, I'm not available for that. I can just put that over here because I can never get it, so it'll help me. Campaign Chairman, 3 and 5, I match those. So I go over here. And Deputy Prime Minister, that requires 5 and 8. I do not match that. So I've got to increase my favor at this point to become Deputy Prime Minister. Again, a weird thing. We just won the election, and the deputy party leader is not going to be party leader anymore. We have other things that happen. What are we looking at here? Replace. This should tell that when the opposition is taking over the PM's role, this should be talking about the career cards having to be reevaluated. Just as a reminder, I had to go look that up. It's not a great situation. Replace the liberal bills with the conservative. Remove the election marker if it's still on the board. Yeah? That forces an election even though the points aren't so hot. The former opposition is now the government, and the election will be held immediately to determine the new government's number of MPs. Now, this is important because it could result in a minority government, although we picked up a bunch of popularity at the same time. So that's of some interest. I got to take the liberal cards out of play, though. The thing, I think these discards they remain discards, so they'll go over there, turn face up. We immediately hold an election. We're in the lead here. We don't just grab a card, we roll a die. It's 4. I don't know if that +9 is +9 in favor of the current government or +9 in favor of the current leader. the PM, the current government, gets the points. Either way, it would be the same. It doesn't really matter. But so we're looking at 347, 356. That's going to be a 360. And now we count our partisans. 110. We have 110 partisans. Sorry. No, that's what we got there. That means 250 moderates. Again, it would be more useful to have one of these at a very high value. Having them kind of split is not great because it means that a whole bunch of cards are not available to me. And we gave ourselves the 6 points, I do believe, for taking over the government. This goes back up, although with how close the points are, that's probably not going to matter. I'm looking for my sequence supply, which is in here somewhere. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just this one here. Okay. I think that's the end of the road for this election cycle. We've seen a change in government. Now let's talk about what we think kind of happened here with this change of government. So, first of all, the Prime Minister, who has been doing fantastic all game and working his way up to the 90, is now in a horrible position. No standing. He's going to be falling to a backbencher next turn. It doesn't happen immediately, but he's going to be falling to a backbencher next turn. Meanwhile, we'll see if any of these. He's probably actually due some of these. Privy Council is flattery. Let's throw that away. Chief Whip. Okay, let's look at these. Let's see these. Chief Whip, influence 2 and standing 3. We're going to be Chief Whip. Campaign Chairman 2 and 5. We're going to receive the campaign chairman job. And Deputy Leader we do not get. But that's going to all get discarded, and Viscount Melbourne is going to become sort of a nobody. Again, I don't believe that's reasonable. I think actually what should happen, to be reasonable with this, is that you should draw a new character. But the problem is, of course, you know, whatever cards that you've collected are not yours. Like, your supporters would stay the same. There's some other stuff that stays the same. But the fact that he gets dumped all the way back to here pretty much guarantees that in a late game situation, a leader who gets pushed out is pretty much out of the game, right? He's not going to win. And that's the thing. Now we're seeing a race, a 3-player race. And it really is. Sure, he has the Prime Minister and a lot of advantages from that. But this guy is going to be seizing the opposition and might be able to, engineer a change. And this guy is in a very powerful position in terms of his standing, etc. He might be able to engineer the destruction of the Prime Minister as well. And it's important that I am allowed to resign still. He will probably not be able to resign if the Prime Minister changes. The only thing he's got going in his favor is a small handful of point lead that he got off being Prime Minister while his backbencher had resigned. No longer resigned, they are actually won, but they don't consolidate their pieces at this point. They're just going to each get the full value of pooling now. I guess that's about it. We'll pull this one up because this was kind of an exciting finish, I guess. It's kind of what I was expecting, though. which is that you kind of don't want to be prime minister throughout most of the game. It's one of those situations where, wow, the cost of losing the prime ministry is so heavy. Now, it was kind of in a little bit of doubt whether or not he could just coast to victory. So maybe there's a way to do that. This is weird how white this is. Like, look at the coloration of these two. Why are they different? I don't know. We've got Scottish suffragettes, Prince caught, Jack the Ripper. Not seeing any others that are that white. Very odd. Well, all right, we're going to send this up, and then I'll go play some more Raid, I guess. I don't know. I have a weird situation with Raid where it's like, there's a minor reason why I want to stay up until like 3 in the morning and save all my actions till then. But I really hate that fucking... It's this annoying mechanism. Every night except dance night, it is really painful to me because it keeps me... Like, maybe I take a nap between like 9 p.m. and 3 a.m. or something like that. That would be a workable solution to it. Another solution, though, is just stay up and wait. You know, but it just turns out that it's very advantageous for me to be awake at a really stupid hour. And that has been part of what is going on for me. And now I realize, wow, I've wasted another whole year playing fucking Raid. Great. Anyway.